Transmission is coming to you approximately halfway between the moon and the Earth. See you ahead of
Hi there! I'd like to talk to you today about the Disney Channel. And no, I don't mean the Disney Channel today, where it's all just made up of teen pop stars who are pretending that's all you need to have a sitcom. I mean the Disney Channel of my childhood, back when it was entertaining. Doesn't that seem like it was a long time ago? For those of you born when Clinton was president and after, I should let you know that there was a point in time in which the Disney Channel showed actual entertaining programming. And they actually took advantage of the fact that they didn't have commercials by not cutting away from the shows for random minutia and actually just playing the show all the way through. They took advantage of that, and they took advantage of the other main boon that Disney Channel had against its competitors, the fact that it could use Disney licensed characters. And they made a ton of great shows with that, especially things like, DuckTales, and my personal favorites, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, and Timon and Pumbaa. Some of these shows, like Timon and Pumbaa, Aladdin, and The Little Mermaid, were logical extensions of the movie franchises they came from, that they just had the characters from those movies doing more things like they did in the movies. But there is a second type of these shows, like Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers and DuckTales, where they take the characters from these classic stories and then they change around the scenario a great deal and put the characters into something completely alien. These shows show a great range of creativity where they take these characters and put them into these situations that they really don't belong into, and yet it somehow works. Among these shows is Tailspin is probably the most insane one of these. Like DuckTales, you have Scrooge McDuck and the nephews out globe-trotting, searching for treasure and fighting evil. Strange, yes, but you can follow the logic. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, you have Chip and Dale matching up with a rat, a mouse, and a fly to solve mysteries and fight evil. Weirder. Baloo from the Jungle Book, flying an airplane while living on a tropical island while King Louie is now a bartender on the island, and Bagheera and Mowgli, the stars of the Jungle Book, are not mentioned at all. That's just insane. For those of you who don't know, Tailspin is the odd mixture of the Jungle Book and Tales of the Golden Monkey. I really wonder what the board meeting was like where they came up with this idea. So we want to make a show about the Jungle Book, but we don't want to get into any racial things, so let's take out the Indian. Well, Baloo's the most popular character from the movie. We should make it about him. But all he does is lounge around. I mean, his whole thing is bare necessity. Good point. I know, let's put him in a world where everyone's anthropomorphic animals, including a place that's basically communist Russia, but everyone's warthogs. I'm with you so far, but what's he gonna do? Oh, that's easy. He'll fly a commercial plane with a former sky pirate orphan sidekick and a single mother boss who's always trying to stop him from being so lazy. I see, so he can fly around, having crazy adventures, fighting sky pirates, going up against an industrialist tiger, Shere Khan, looking for buried treasure, stopping wars with panda bears. You know, that sort of stuff. Exactly! We should add another Jungle Book character. I know, Louie, King of the Apes, can be a bartender at a juice bar. What about Bagheera, or Kaa, or the wolves? No one will miss him. I think we have a hit on our hands. Yeah, this show is really weird. But it somehow works. I remember loving it as a kid, and when I rewatched it recently, I could really see why. Now, I wouldn't recommend this show for adults, but it's a pretty good kids show. Now to the topic at hand, why the show is called Flamingo. You see, there's one episode of the show called Flight of the Snow Duck, where Baloo and company take a shipment of lawn flamingos to Thumbria, the USSR parallel, and this happens.
What do you guys do with these flamingos anyway?
We buy them for $1 each, paint them blue, and then sell them back to Cape Suzette for half what we pay.
Don't you lose money?
Yes, but this is a power struggle. They keep painting them pink again and selling them back to us.
Why not just leave them pink?
Who ever heard of a pink flamingo?
Well, look, just because everything's frozen here doesn't mean...
Hey, what do you think you're doing? They're painting flamingos.
That's my plane.
According to this official stamp, it is a bird.
It's a plane.
It's a bird. Fast call, all flamingos aboard for Cape Suzette. That's the second biggest flamingo I've ever seen.
I remember thinking as a kid that they were suggesting that the aircraft carrier was actually the first biggest flamingo. So what is essentially a second biggest Monkey Island joke always stuck with me in particular. I bring this up to bring up a later Disney Channel cartoon, Kim Possible. For those not in the know, Kim Possible is a show about a high school cheerleader who in her spare time uses her cheerleading skills to fight evil and supervillains with the help of her sidekick and best friend Ron Stoppable.
Okay, you saved the world using your mad cheerleading skills to fight bad guys.
No way. That's silly. Who'd ever believe a cheerleader could do that?
At the climax of a lot of episodes, the bad guy pulls out a super weapon or giant robot or something, to which Ron replies,
"That would be so cool if it wasn't gonna hurt us."
However, in the third season episode, Go Team Go, they are fighting a bird-based villain named Aviarius, and at the climax of that battle, this happens.
Release the Flamingo of Doom!
Say what?
That is the second biggest flamingo I have ever seen.
When I first heard Ron say that, I let out a manly squee, immediately remembering the line from Tailspin. Now I know what you're thinking. They probably weren't making a reference to that obscure line from that show, but were instead just making a general second biggest joke. Now, my response to you in that is, why make it a flamingo? They could have gone with any giant bird. Also, Ron never makes another second biggest joke in the entire run of Kim Possible. So I choose to believe that this was a reference to this obscure line that has stuck with me personally my whole life. I know that might be silly, but I love Kim Possible, and I sincerely want them to be making such a weird and random reference that is so near and dear to my heart. Yeah, that's right. Kim Possible, even though it was on the Disney Channel as recently as 3 years ago, is an actively good show. I'd even recommend it to kids and adults. Well, yes, it does have these silly kid moments and moralizing at the end of the show. They just as often make fun of those and make parodies of it.
After all that, we got nothing. I mean, what do we take away from this?
Who cares what we take from it? I lost! Bonnie, there's always something you can learn from any experience, even if you lose.
Normally, I'd say we learn that suspicion and paranoia is bad, except that's what saved us.
Well, maybe we learned that... I don't know. I didn't learn anything.
That's it! Looking at you two, it's so clear.
What is so clear?
If you two had set aside your differences earlier, one of you could have won that spirit stick. That's the lesson here.
How about cheer camp stinks? Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, works for me. Oh, yeah.
And the fact that Kim is a cheerleader who often fights with a bare midriff against a supervillainess wearing spandex doesn't hurt. But seriously, Christy Carlson Romano, who plays Kim, started having a Radio Disney singing career about the same time that every woman on the Disney Channel started having a Radio Disney singing career. And you know what? They had a grand total of 1 episode of Kim Possible where Kim sings. In fact, at the same time that the Lizzie McGuire movie was needlessly shoehorning in having Hilary Duff sing, Kim Possible had an episode completely based around singing that Kim doesn't sing in at all. She was too busy fighting, so instead we get Ron doing the naked mole rap.
What is that? Super freaking fast! Woo! Come on,
Kim Possible is also one of those shows in the prestigious group of shows that came back after ending their first run. You see, the creators decided to end the show by making a made-for-TV movie called So the Drama. However, that movie kicked so much ass that people rallied to get them to come back and do one last final season. No, I'm serious. So the Drama kicks a lot of ass. If you haven't seen it yet, go out and watch it. No, right now. I'll wait. Why the hell can't more shows be like this nowadays? Why is everything on the Disney Channel a clone of Hannah Montana, which in itself is just a retarded version of the famous Jet Jackson? Why are all the cartoons they have on nowadays things like The Adventures of Flapjack and Chowder? I'd rather watch the entirety of Space Cases from beginning to end than watch one more second of The Adventures of Flapjack. Hell, I'd watch the entirety of Sabrina the Animated Series as opposed to watching a single frame of Chowder. I miss Flash Forward.